Well, for more analysis, we are now joined by Olivier Guitta in London. He is Managing Director of the geopolitical risk consulting firm Global Strat. Olivier, 3 attacks on 3 continents in a matter of hours. Is there any connection here or just a matter of coincidence?
Good afternoon, Anna. It's a coordinated attack in the way that it follows the call from al-Adnani, the spokesman of the Islamic State, 3 days before the attack, to target Westerners and to target Shias and to really focus on having those attacks during the holy month of Ramadan. So in that aspect, it's a coincidence, but it also follows the call of the Islamic State.
Yeah, Olivia, you mentioned that message that ISIS made being this call for violence in the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, which obviously we are currently now in. I can't imagine that that is an idle threat. Can we expect more attacks?
Yes, very much so. I mean, you look in the past, even other groups such as Al-Qaeda or Al-Qaeda in Iraq have used the month of Ramadan to really expand and accelerate their attacks, and especially on Fridays, and that's why I was very concerned about the attack yesterday. But you have to remember that the Islamic State is not Al-Qaeda in the way that it cannot really give orders to lone wolves to attack the same day. So in that fashion, I don't think it was coordinated.
You mentioned those lone wolf attacks. We saw one in Australia end of last year. Obviously, authorities now believe that what's happened in France is a lone wolf attack, whereas ISIS claim responsibility for Tunisia and Kuwait. Are you envisaging more of those in the days and months ahead?
Oh, yes, very much so. I mean, if you look at how much of a propaganda tool the Islamic State has used against the West since the U.S. intervention in Iraq in August 2014, you're looking at a potential tsunami of terror unleashing in Western Europe and in the West, because the numbers of fighters going there are humongous, but also the Islamic State had made clear that their followers in the West should not go to Syria and Iraq any longer, but should attack the homeland.
Yeah, you mentioned, okay, that it's spreading its tentacles, and we've discussed this in previous hours, that ISIS is really gaining footholds elsewhere, not just Iraq and Syria. And I guess you look at this US-led air campaign in Iraq and Syria, and whilst, you know, ISIS is certainly taking hits, it's also proving to be a formidable opponent. I mean, ISIS isn't going anywhere, is it? Do we just have to now assume this is the status quo?
Very much so, because if you look at what kind of animal the Islamic State is, it's a mix between a classical army fighting an insurgency and also a classical terrorist group. So you can see that they're going to shift their strategies. They're going to focus on grabbing territory in the Middle East and also using an asymmetrical war in Western Europe and in the US to target Westerners.
So, Olivier, how does the West fight ISIS? How can they defeat them, considering, as you say, this is now the status quo?
Look, a couple of things. First, we have to win the war of ideas, and for the time being, the narrative is being won by the other side. There is an unstoppable flow of Westerners going to Syria and Iraq. And for a lot of people, now the West is being viewed in the Muslim world as a dishonest broker between Sunnis and Shias. And a lot of Sunnis, extremists or moderates, still think very much so that the US and the West are working for Iran and have chosen one side in that 1400-year-old war.
So really changing the narrative. Well, look, we certainly appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your expertise. Olivier Guitta, joining us from London. He, of course, is the Managing Director of the geopolitical risk consulting firm Global Strat. Many thanks.